This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, December 5th. Please stand for our invocation led by District 6 Council Member Josh Woods and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Lord, we come before you, God, first off to thank you so much for the blessings that you poured out on our city. Thank you for everything that you've done for us, Lord, as elected representatives and citizens of Mobile. We do want to ask, Lord, that you help us remember, Lord, this time and this season, what the real meaning is for the season. And again, we want to ask again for your blessings upon our city, its staff, and its citizens. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves. Here. Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everybody this morning. Welcome to our December 5th meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic device, including the cell phones, please at this time put it on the off or the vibrator position, the off or the vibrator position. Any person? Okay, it's on. Yeah, any person that is desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution, the ordinance, appeal, or public hearing or agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must give his or her name. Any person that is desiring to address the council on another agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to express to the council must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item would not be allowed to address the council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. The first bell indicates that you have 1 minute, and the second bell indicates that your time has expired. When addressing the council, there will be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any individual council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes of November 21st.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk.
Communications from the mayor's office.
There are no communications from the mayor today. He's out of the country.
Madam Clerk.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals. We have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance on December 16th on Gulfdale Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Reverend Tony Allgood.
Yeah, he's not present.
Sarah Alexander regarding ordinance 46059.
I wanted to come in because
Give us your name, please. Yeah.
my name is Sarah Alexander. And thank you. And I sincerely appreciate your time, and I apologize. I am here because I am concerned regarding crime, and I am concerned regarding Black lives. And I think we need to realize something before we make things more difficult for law enforcement in our city. I lived in Chicago for 10 years. I lived in Memphis for 2 years. If Mobile wants to go down the path of those cities and destroy itself, I will at least attempt to stop that from happening. I want to share this graph right here. Now, these are victims.
Ma'am, you got to address me.
These are victims of homicide, okay? This is black victims of homicide is top line. Down here, way at the bottom are white victims of homicide, Hispanic victims of homicide. Now, if you notice, a huge jump recently that corresponds to the defunding of police, that corresponds with making things harder for police. When you do that, you cost thousands and thousands of black lives. And if you actually care about black lives, you would
Address me.
you would support law enforcement. You would not support criminals, even if you're 16 years old. You will support law enforcement. I live in a neighborhood where safety is key, and we side with law enforcement, not criminals, because of this. Before you make ordinances about police brutality or regarding police activity, I hope you need to know how many unarmed black lives, how many black men are killed every year, unarmed or unarmed by police. How many? It's about 12. Do you know how many black men die of homicide every year? About 3,000. So I'm sorry. If you care about the people in your neighborhood, you care about their safety, and you will not make it harder for law enforcement. If I support law enforcement, I do not support criminals. Thank you.
I'm going to.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
the ordinance that I'm sponsoring is not against law enforcement. And the 16-year-old wasn't a criminal. Was a young man who was in the household, who didn't know what was going on. The ordinance that I'm sponsoring is to protect citizens as well as law enforcement. Pre-dawn raids as well as no-knock raids. When it's done, we see that it could potentially put law enforcement in harm's way as well as citizens like this 16-year-old young man. I think we have to understand the exact situation, what's going on, and we can't put everything in the same bucket. I thank you for coming down and expressing your concerns, but this ordinance does not go against law enforcement. This ordinance is there to protect the citizens as well as law enforcement. Thank you, Mr. President.
John Young regarding ordinance 46059.
Wait a minute, Ms. Lambert. I just got here. Good morning, Ms. Lambert. Thank you. I'm John Carlos Young. I represent Maine United Against Mobile, and we're here to talk about the ordinance. Let's say you do it. Let's say you live stream body-worn camera recordings while officers are wearing them. Does that mean that men with guns will not exist? Will it deter crime? No. If we really want to deter crime, we can hold the department accountable, but the responsibility should begin in the home to not commit crimes, to not go where crimes are committed, not associate with people who commit crimes, and never embarrass the family when you leave home. We're talking about the outcome and not the input. What leads to armed police officers having contact with armed young black men? Well, the armed young black men first, right? Are we really talking about the basic, what's leading to these contacts and conflicts with police? No, we're talking about the outcome. You can all agree that men should not, you don't raise your children to carry guns or sell drugs. You don't raise your children to disobey authority and when given lawful commands by police. So what do you think the outcome will be when this urban terrorist who did a drive-by shooting on this 9-year-old black girl this morning and shot her in the head will be when police find him? What could that possibly lead to? When you have urban terrorists so brazenly who care so little about life that will fire into a home randomly and strike a 9-year-old girl in the head, what do you think is going to happen when armed police find him? What could happen? Would you prefer we call you and you go in the house and get him? Do you think he'll listen to you if you say, come on, you didn't really mean it? Or do you really need police to go out and enforce law to give you the civilized society your constituents voted you to give them? You have a duty, role, responsibility, and authority to not only protect one aspect, but all aspects. If we're going to hold police accountable, and we should, I don't always agree with my boss, you know what I'm saying? We should always hold accountable, but I'm responsible for my behavior. And if we talk about accountability before responsibility, you're not talking about prevention. Men United Against Violence want to prevent violent acts. And we know strong men in the home will teach their children, don't commit crimes, don't go where crimes are committed, don't associate with people who commit crimes, and if all else fails, never embarrass the family. I need somebody watching you. I have time? Well, so we're talking about unity. We're talking about standing together and preventing crimes. We can do both. We can have accountability for the city, the police, the fire, the dump trucks, and the responsibility put on the homes first. We can tell fathers and families to raise your children not to be criminals, not to be degenerates, and say, police, don't mistreat even our degenerate children. We can do both. But all I ever hear from council, from government is one-sided. The police, the police, the police. Preachers come up, the police, the police, the police. Well, what about the parents? What about the home? A 9-year-old black girl was shot in the head this morning. Where's the outrage?
Yeah, thank you so much for coming down.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn, thank you, sir.
I have a question. Mr. Young,
Mr. Young,
Mr. Young, I have a question. I couldn't, when you first started, I wanted to get clarity. You stated about body cam. What did you say?
The ordinance.
The ordinance. What was your concern about the ordinance? I couldn't.
Well, the ordinance, I was stating that let's say that we live stream body cam.
Live stream?
If we allow people to see in real time what police officers' cameras record.
If we have anything dealing with live stream, so where did you get where did you get live stream ordinance from? Because we have nothing on our ordinance with live stream, and you come down here and you just said that the council is talking about live stream.
No, sir, I did not accuse the council of live streaming.
Well,
I said if we live stream.
Mr. Young, Mr. Young.
I said if we live stream.
All right, so if you're gonna say if we live stream at the council meeting, that sounds like an acquisition, like we're doing that live. And that's not even something we're talking about. Second, I totally agree. We have to do both. We have to do both. But to make a insinuation like we're talking about live stream body cam, that never even came from the council. And then to come and make a statement and say the council is only talking about the police officer, it's a lie. And I'm really disappointed. I'm truly disappointed. I have a lot of respect for you, Mr. Young, and I always tell you when I see you out there that I'll tell you, man, I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I'm very disappointed because I know for a fact what I do in the community. I'm in schools on a regular basis. I go to the schools. I can go to any school right now, and they're going to say, hey, Mr. Penn. I can go to any church right now and walk up, and they're going to say, what's up, Pastor Corey? I'm not just saying the police officer. I'm telling, no, parents, you got to be, it takes everybody doing their job. It takes everyone. It's not just the police officer job to do. It takes everyone. Teachers, it takes everyone. So when you came out and just made that statement, it sounded like we're up here attacking police officers. That is not the truth. That is not the truth. And I'm tired of it seeming like everybody is trying to attack the blue. What you did, that was a false narrative. That was yes, it was. It was a false narrative.
It wasn't.
It was. Because that's definitely not something that I'm doing. So if you want to say if you believe it's someone on this council doing it, say their name. Or you say some of the council person. Don't say the council, because I know it's not me.
Because I don't
excuse me, I'm talking right now. I'm talking right now, and I have this right here.
Hold up.
Hey, 3 minutes.
Ain't no through. That's
Hold on. Mr. Young, please have a seat.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Penn, you may finish.
my name is Councilman Corey Penn,
Mr. Young, please
and
take a
I'm
seat.
the elected official up here.
Mr. Young, please take a seat.
You came up here and you gave a false narrative. That's not right. Every time I see you, I give you respect. If you want to come up here, speak the truth. If you think some council members doing that, you say some, but please don't say all. That is something that we're not doing and I'm not doing. I have much respect for every police officer that's doing their job. But you're not going to paint the narrative that every council member is doing that. That is not the case. Then you want to paint the narrative that some live body footage. Where is that coming from?
No.
If you come to the Public Safety Committee meeting, you're going to see that that is not in the ordinance. No live body camera footage. That is not a part of the ordinance. Let's not make things up. If we want to create a narrative, let's tell the truth. That is not part of the ordinance. I support police officers. I support families. We have to do it together. That's the only way that we're going to create change. And pointing the finger at someone and pointing the finger at another group is not going to be able, that's not going to be able to do that. We have to come together in unity. That's the only way for us to be able to do that, is to come together in unity. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
I'd like to just make a brief statement to say that Men United Against Violence is doing good work, and I appreciate Mr. Young for all the work he does. I think there was a little bit of confusion here regarding this ordinance that's on our agenda today versus a different ordinance which deals with the body camera footage. This ordinance that's on the agenda today is essentially just taking the policy that has already been established by the mayor's office, the police department. We heard from Chief of Staff Barber this morning that they're in support of this, and it just puts it into, codifies it. And that's all it is. And it essentially just outlines that level of accountability within the department, that there must be these sign-offs that happen, which I believe the department does currently right now. I believe there's a policy where in order to do a pre-dawn raid or a no-knock warrant, which the police department does not do no-knock warrants as a matter of policy, I'm sure that if there was, maybe a terrorist situation or something very extreme, that they would exercise their ability to do it. But when it comes to these pre-dawn raids, it's essentially just saying, keep doing what you're doing. It's a sensible policy that rises, it protects everybody, as Mr. Penn says. So I just wanted to clear up a little bit of the confusion with that. This is not a divisive, I don't believe, between the administration, the city council, the police department, and it doesn't have to be.
Mr. Carroll.
Point of clarity. It's my understanding that we're discussing the same ordinance, but different sections of the same ordinance. Is that not correct? 046, whatever it is. 0646. It's the same ordinance, just different sections, because all of us have a section that we're trying to amend in this. Is that not correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, because I keep hearing mentioning two different ordinances. It's the same ordinance, just amending different sections.
Well, I may have misunderstood you. There are two different proposals or ordinances before the council. One is addressing the so-called body cam footage, and then this is a separate one that Council Member Penn has proposed, which addresses no-knock and pre-dawn raids.
But it's the same section.
Same chapter of the city code, yes.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Vice President first.
I want to just follow up with what Councilman Reynolds said. I think there was a little bit of confusion on the council's part, It's a little difficult for us to understand the audio in here. There's such an echo. I have a hard time understanding sometimes exactly what the people speaking are saying, but I believe where Mr. Young was, or what he was trying to say was, if you were watching live stream when the police officers were going through and trying to issue a warrant, and what happens, what they actually see, that might have been where he was trying to go. So he wasn't really talking about live streaming body cam footage. He was just talking about if you were to maybe be in their shoes and you were seeing as what they are seeing. So sorry for the confusion on our part, but you know, I too support what you all are doing. I think it's very important that the entire community gets behind what y'all are doing. Councilman Penn is right on with, you know, things happening in the home, and what he is doing in his community is incredible. He goes out to all the schools, he talks to all the children, so he's doing a great job, and he is a terrific role model for all of us. So again, thank you to our police officers for what you do. It is a very difficult job. We as a council are just looking at ways to provide safety for everyone, to be fair to everyone, to treat everyone equitably. And what we are looking at today is something that the administration has already put into place. There are plenty of exceptions written in case there is a need to do more. So I think that's where we're going. Of course, this is the first read. It will lay over for a week, and we'll come back and look at it again next week.
Mr. Woods?
I too want to tag along and say I appreciate the work that Mr. Young does in our community. Watching from a distance, hearing what you do, seeing what you do, you're definitely making an impact, and I appreciate what you're doing. And just to tag along with what Mr. Reynolds said, I too am in support of this ordinance that Mr. Penn brought to the table here, to the agenda. It does, again, it's not anything different than what's being done. It just puts it on the books. So I do support that, but I also do see a point that I think Mr. Young was trying to make. We have 430 officers, give or take, on the force at the moment. I've been in this chair for 119 days. The majority of that, or the whole time, we've dealt with this issue. And a lot of times I think that folks do come down to the podium, and it points back, and it points back to the 430 officers, when not 430 folks are out there where 5 instances occurred that have been under review lately. And I do, being in my full-time job, probably the third largest employer outside the city of Mobile and the sheriff's office of officers, of off-duty officers in my case. So I do have the opportunity a lot of times to speak with officers and to hang out with officers as they're off-duty doing events at my facility. And I do know that morale is low. That's something that I waking up trying to do your job, knowing that your morale, despite it has not came from this council, but hearing in the public, a lot of times fingers being pointed back at you. So I did want to take a moment because again I've been contacted by my constituents. Just want to let you know that District 6 and all council members up here definitely support our officers and our first responders. And I know that now is a challenging time to do your job, but I do want to let you know that I appreciate it. My constituents have expressed to me to express that to our officers. Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
Thank you, Mr. President. The issues we're dealing with are being dealt with by other municipalities across this country. There are no easy solutions. There are a number of conflicting interests that this council and other municipalities have to deal with in dealing with these issues. There are the interests of the citizen who has been accosted by the police. There are the interests in the police officers themselves. There is an interest in the public at large. All of these entities, people, have interests, sometimes conflicting interests. On the broad themes, we all agree. But when you get to the nuances and the details, there's room for reasonable people to disagree. And I think we all, including myself, need to step back from time to time and have respect for people whose opinions disagree with ours, with whom we disagree, and try to move forward. Whatever solution we're going to come up with is not going to please everybody. And we all need to, as I say, including myself, step back from time to time, listen, and try to do the best we can the way our conscience leads us to accommodate all of these oftentimes variable interests. Thank you, Mr. President.
There's a proverb, old African proverb that is stated many times, especially throughout the black churches, and it states that it takes a village to raise a child. And, you know, I appreciate the work that Mr. Young does and other organizations does also. You know, Mr. Young, you know, referred back to the parents. You know, Mr. Young, let me just remind you that the parents today are not like the parents we had 30, 40 years ago. There's a whole different generation of parents. And unfortunately, we have many parents or many people that call themselves parents having children and they're not raising their children. And a lot of times they go out and act out. And even you have some parents that raise their kids to shoot. You know, you know, no matter if they're 16-year-old, 13-year-old, 12-year-old. I think I heard one of my one of my fellow council members stated that, you know, he taught his daughter how to pick up the gun. And so, I mean, basically, I mean, from picking up the gun, from protecting themselves to going out and doing deer hunting. You know, so it's going to take all of us together. And the thing about it is that we're all going to have different opinions. But the thing about it is that we have to negotiate. It's nothing I would not do to harm the Mobile Police Department at all. I've been up here several years, and I'm very, very supportive of the Mobile Police Department. Just as well, I'm very supportive of hearing from my constituents that have concerns about what's going on. But we have to learn, we'll find a compromise in many ways. And what Mr. Penn had proposed, and my proposal on last week with the body camera is a compromise. You know, and the body cameras are just to protect the police officer just as well as the citizens. And what Mr. Penn has proposed on here is also to protect the police officers and the citizens. I can firmly say that there's no council member up here at all is trying to fight the police department, nor we are trying to fight the, you know, the citizens that we represent. But the thing about it is that we got to work together, and this is not going to be the only changes, especially when the report comes back from, you know, Kenyon Brown, and there's going to be some other changes that is done. Some people are going to like them, and some people are not going to like them. But the thing about it is for the better of the good for the city of Mobile. And that's why we all here for, to make sure that our city move forward.
Mr. President.
Vice President, then Chief of Staff.
Well, what I was going to say, just Mr. Young did mention something about a 9-year-old girl being shot this morning. And I can certainly see where the frustration, the anger, the upset comes from. And he is right. We should all be outraged by something like this. It was the number 30 victim of the year, a 9-year-old girl shot as she was just on the sofa in her home. The victim, her 16-year-old brother, was apparently the target. While this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what we're looking at on our agenda items, it still certainly serves a purpose for us to remember what is going on in our city and the issues that we have to deal with. And I wish we had known about all of this earlier. I was not aware, so I understand where you're coming from on that. And I think the Chief of Staff has some more information that he wants to provide.
You know, I guess I'm a little disappointed that John Young's outcry this morning was misinterpreted, I think. And it gives this appearance that the police department is at odds with the council when the police department is working with the council to make sure that we ensure the safety of officers as well as citizens Councilman Penn pointed out. His passion for the violence going on in our community is what you saw at the podium today. Y'all were unaware of it. I just shared you what came to me from the captain over our homicide. Some of that information is private. I would appreciate that you not share. His passion was not directed at you, Mr. Penn. It's at the fact that a 9-year-old girl was killed this morning sitting on her sofa watching TV by somebody with an AR-15 rifle. That shouldn't happen in our community. Children should be safe, by all means should be safe in their homes, which is why we're addressing some of these issues. But I just wanted to publicly state that there is no at odds between the police and the city council, that the police are actually working with the city council to ensure the safety of officers and citizens, and it's a balance. But the passion that you saw was not anger at city council. It's the anger out of the message I just sent you, which I hope that you better understand where Mr. Young's coming from.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I thank you, Chief Barber, for sharing that information. And I totally agree that we have to work together. And I'm not just targeting a certain situation. So, Mr. Young, if you were to have been there Saturday in the Tomenville community, it was a Stop the Violence rally. It wasn't just for police situation. It's a Stop the Violence rally. And I was there. It was Mothers Against Violence in the community. And Councilman Corey Penn was marching in the community to stop the violence. And I didn't know that happened today, but I was marching in the community. So I wasn't waiting for a situation to take place. I was being proactive and marching in the community just this past Saturday. So I'm not waiting for a situation to happen. I'm against violence every day. So I'm marching against violence Saturday in the community. And I'm against it, not just when a situation happens, but I'm against it, period. So I have that same hurt, that same passion. I'm marching with the mothers. It's on my Facebook picture, my Facebook page, and they showing their pictures of their kids that they lost. And I'm marching with them so they hear another 9-year-old lost their life. That hurts. So that's why we can't be attacking each other. We have to work together to solve these issues. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
I want it to be very clear that the scumbag that's out there shooting into houses, our police department is coming for you. This law does not prohibit or restrict their ability to go after these scumbags in our community that are committing these crimes. I'm not going to support a law that stops the police department from protecting our citizens, protecting these victims, and prohibits them from going after these, I don't care what their age is, teenagers, adults, whatever they are, they're killing people, committing robberies, whatever they are. This city council is with the police department to go after those criminals. We do it week after week. We exercise our legislative authority by making sure they're equipped and trained and they have all the resources they need to go out and effectively fight crime and protect our citizens. So I hope you hear that, Mr. Young. That's where I stand with it. I stand with you on the efforts you're putting forward. And I hope we can still find reasonable resolutions on the minutia as Mr. Dave suggested. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Young. Madam Clerk.
Resolutions held over. 08-1282, approved purchase orders for fuel for the Wave Transit System. 08-1284, approved purchase order to Intera for annual subscription renewal. Intera Operations Decision Support Software. 21-1285, authorized contract with Red Pest Solutions for pest control services for various city locations. 21-1286, authorized amendment to contract with a public parking system.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Ordinance is being introduced. 46059.
Per council rules, this will lay over for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced. 09-1288 through 60-1313.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions as read.
Second.
The properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules waived.
09-1288, transfer funds from District 2 General Fund discretionary account to Parks and Recreation General Fund account to assist with sponsoring community activities at Robert Hope Center. 58-1289, 1290, and 1291 are declaring weeds noxious and assessing cost for removal of weeds, groups 1650, 1643, and 1645. 60-1292, approve award of special bonus to Public Services Employee of the Month. 60, 1293, 1294, 1295 are determining appropriations to Housing First, Inc., Country Club Estates Neighborhood Association, Inc., Twin Oaks Nursing Home, Inc., serve a public purpose, and approve payment. 60, 1313 request the Planning Commission consider a text amendment to Article 13, Spring Hill overlay of the Unified Development Code.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
CIP resolutions being introduced 09-1296.
By council rules, this will lay over for 1 week.
Resolutions being introduced 08-1297 through 60-1304.
By council rules, these will also lay over for 1 week.
Call for public hearings. 41-1305, call for public hearing to consider a modification of a previously approved plan unit development located at 951 Downtown Boulevard and 3655 Marion Beckham Drive, scheduled January 2nd. 41-1306, call for public hearing to consider a modification of a previously approved planning approval for property located at 951 Downtown Boulevard and 3655 Marion Beckham Drive, scheduled January 2nd. 41-1307, 1308, 1309, 1310, 1311, and 1312 are calling for public hearings to rezone newly annexed areas of Orchard Estates and the Cottage Hill corridor from R1 to B3, Kings Branch and Cottage Hill corridor from R1 to B2, Kings Branch and the Cottage Hill corridor from R1 to LB2, Cottage Hill corridor from R1 to B2, Kings Branch, Orchard Estates, and the Cottage Hill corridor from R1 to B3, and Orchard Estates and the Cottage Hill corridor from R1 to CW, all scheduled January 2nd.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Announcements.
District 5, Councilman Davis. District 6, Councilman Woods.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Just want to put this on the radar for District 6 into the new year. I'm looking to do maybe on a Saturday an event for District 6 at Melvonner Park. So look for that to be coming out here shortly. Also, looking to do another community meeting in February. So that's also something to be on the lookout for. And the best way to find out about these things is to sign up, obviously, for the District 6 newsletter. And with that, one more thing to note, in the newly annexed areas, we just issued the call for public hearing on the 2nd of January. So that's something that applies directly to District 6. So be aware of that and definitely make sure that you know. And if you need to come speak, you need to come speak. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Woods. District 2, Councilman Carroll.
No announcements today, Mr. President. Just happy holidays to everyone out there. And this is the first week of Advent or the Christmas season, the most blessed time of the year for me. I love this time of year, and I wish peace and happiness to everyone out there during this holiday season.
District 1, Councilman Penn.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I know before my time on the council, I believe that we used to have some meetings in the evening times quarterly. I believe that we need to start going back to that in the new year. I'm working on something that I'll be presenting to the council in the new year, that we will be going back to some things quarterly. I'll be presenting that. I think it's very vital that if we need to make sure that residents that not able to get here in the morning time, they have the opportunity to be able to come to the meetings in the evening time. So that will be coming soon. Thank you, Mr. President.
District 4, Councilmember Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. President. On December 19th, I will hold a community meeting at the Cypress Shores Baptist Church to discuss upcoming capital expenditure on drainage. We'll also discuss the proposed Scanel project for Rabbit Creek, the filling of almost 100 acres of wetlands, and hear from you all and see how it will impact you, riverfront property owners and people in the community, and how it may have an impact on this tremendous capital expenditure that we're spending there to sort of correct some siltation and that sort of thing. So December 19th at 6 p.m. at Cypress Shores Baptist Church. Thank you, Mr. President.
Vice President, District 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last night, we had the annual District 7 Christmas party, and it was a smashing success. We had a great turnout. As always, at the Mobile Museum of Art, they are terrific hosts, and I always appreciate what they do to make us feel welcome and to set up the room and then take it down. So they are terrific about doing this. Many thanks go out to everyone from the administration who was there, our staff in particular, who worked so hard to put all this together for me. We had members of community action groups, homeowners associations, and other community groups who were there that we were able to recognize. It was just a wonderful opportunity for people within the community, for fellowship, to have some great food and entertainment. Members of the administration are able to come and speak with the community members and get to know them a little bit better. So again, thanks to everyone who came, including our 3 full-time judges. They were there as well, and our county commissioner. So thank you again to everyone for coming. I also just wanted to provide a little bit of an update. I spoke about this last night. The pay-as-you-go resurfacing projects are coming to a close within the district. The Howells Ferry Road resurfacing project is still ongoing. They are finishing up there, but very soon it will be complete. Mobile Terrace is almost complete. A few little tweaks and updates will have to be performed, and coming up soon will be the Museum Drive resurfacing. And then, of course, just a heads up for everyone, this coming November during the ballot, when you go to vote, the county's new projects on the pay-as-you-go will be on the back of that ballot. So be sure to turn the ballot over and look at that and vote in favor of those pay-as-you-go projects, because that's how we get so many more of our streets repaired and resurfaced and concrete work and all those kinds of things that we're always looking for money to do. And then, of course, just in our capital improvement projects, resurfacing projects that have been going on citywide are coming to a close, and we will be planning for the new round coming up very soon as well. One other update, we spoke this morning during our pre-conference meeting about the status of streetlights and getting the neighborhoods in the newly annexed areas on the city's electric bill, and the survey is almost complete, and Alabama Power will be the organization that will be installing the lights, and then of course the city will be taking over the power bills, and all of that is in process and in progress. So just want to make sure that everyone in our annexed areas understands that we are working on it, and some of it is already complete, but the rest will be taken care of very soon. So that is it from District 7. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Carroll.
Yes, Mr. President. Being that we were so involved this morning in talking about the ordinance changes and amendments, I forgot to introduce a group of kids that are here today from Faith Academy. I have a shadow today. His name is Joshua. And Joshua, I'm pretty sure that you've learned quite a bit this morning. And I encourage you guys to keep coming and being involved. His name's Joshua Lucy. He attends Faith Academy, and he has quite a few friends here, also shadowing everyone else. And unfortunately, I didn't learn everybody's names. I did learn the 2 girls on the end's names today, and I'm glad that you guys are here. I want to encourage all of you to not leave early today, because today's discussion in the Public Service Committee meeting addressing these body camera ordinance in Section 46 and the time changes and allowing third parties and all of these things will affect you guys for a long time to come. Some of us probably won't be here in 20 years, but you guys will be here in 20 years. So what we do today will affect you for a long time to come. So I encourage you to come sit in that committee meeting and listen and learn and hear the discussion that we're about to have today, especially when there's so much gun violence going on with the youth in our community right now. So I'm glad to have y'all here today. Y'all should stand up and be recognized by everybody so they can see you.
Yeah, all of you.
All of you,
Yeah,
please stand.
all of you.
Yeah, all of you. So that everyone knows that your true interest in this community and how our government works. Thank you all for coming, and I hope to see all of you at 12 o'clock today. Is it 12, Mr. President? Or is it
Yes.
1?
Yes,
12 o'clock today.
And Mr. President,
Mr. Woods?
just a short guy on the end. I'm a proud graduate of Faith, and I want to say it was a great spending time with you guys today. Thanks for coming out. I enjoyed it. I know Councilmember Reynolds enjoyed it as well. And if you have 5 minutes, we'd love to introduce you to somebody about 11:30. We can run upstairs real quick, introduce you. But don't let Mr. Gurley grade you too hard on that. See? Thank you.
Okay. And to greetings to the citizens of District 3 on next Tuesday, December the 12th at 6 o'clock p.m. at Pullman Pilgrims Middle School, which is located on Military Road, 2051 Military Road. We will have our annual District 3 Community Fellowship. We will have a couple choirs that come in to sing and inviting all the community action groups and anyone that works in District 3 to please come out on next Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. We are collecting pairs of socks to be donated to different nursing homes throughout our community. It's just a small act of kindness, but it's not mandatory that you bring it to in order to come to our fellowship on next Tuesday. Also on December the 16th, which is on Saturday after next, Barbara Drum, representative, and Representative Adeline Clark and myself, we are putting on the annual Parades of Threes, starting at 2 o'clock p.m. at BC Rainey High School, and we're going to travel northward on DIP towards Pullman Pilgrim Middle School, where we would disband. Again, we're inviting the whole city to come out for our annual Parades of Threes. Again, that will be on Saturday, December the 16th at 2 o'clock p.m. Do we have anything from the administration? Okay.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
I forgot to, also, I want to truly thank Public Safety Director Lasky and our Community Affairs and the Council Liaison, Keisha Brown, this past Sunday, and Miss Hill, who's over Mothers Against Gun Violence, had the community walk in the Tomoville community, Stop the Violence Walk. They was there. And that's what it's about. We was there to support. They're working on initiatives with mothers to stop gun violence. It was a walk, but it was also an initiative to talk with mothers and create programs and working with youth. It was so many young people out there and talking with them and coming up with different programs. And it's working, as you see, it's working with the council and the administration. The council and the administration. So we're already doing it. And we was doing it Saturday, walking together, and it's showing that. And we can do it together. We can't do it apart. Thank you, Mr. President.
Motion to adjourn.
Been properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is adjourned.